Hello and welcome to a new session. In this session, we're going to see some tips and tricks about a specific field, which is the behavior field. This field is located in the agent settings. And well, why is this important? Well, this is important in one scenario in a specific. As you already know, you can interact with the agent through the API and through the chatbot embodiment. So the behavior field is really important when we are going to interact with the agent through the chatbot embodiment. And why is this? Let's see how the chatbot embodiment works. Okay, here we have the chatbot embodiment. And every time that we input something in the chatbot embodiment, for example, hello, well, each time that we input something in the chatbot embodiment, as you know, it has an LLM, it has an AI. So the first thing that's going to happen is that, well, the user input is going to be taken by the chatbot, and then the chatbot is going to generate a response, but it's going to generate a response according to what we set in the behavior field. So that's why this behavior field is really important, because we can set here prompts, rules about the behavior of the agent. So let's see this agent and let's see what kind of rules we can set, what we can do with the behavior field. So we have, in this case, 3 rules for the behavior of the agent. And let's see the first one. It says, for any interaction, whether it involves a query or not, make sure to call the CATS endpoint. Well, here we have an interaction. We just said hello. But we can see that the CATS endpoint was not called. And why is this? Well, this is because the required inputs of this endpoint is not satisfied. For this endpoint, we need a name and a user input. Well, the user input is, well, this, hello. But we don't have a name. So that's why the response of the chatbot embodiment is hello. Before we get started, can you please tell me your name? That's why it's asking my name, because, well, we need it to call the CATS endpoint. So as soon as we provide a name, we are going to see that the CATS endpoint is going to be called. So my name is Ricardo. And as you can see, the CATS endpoint was called. So once the API endpoint inputs are satisfied, well, the endpoint can be called. And we also saw that this rule is being followed, because the CATS endpoint was called for any kind of interaction. We just need a name and a user input, and the CATS endpoint was called. So for any future interaction, the CATS endpoint always is going to be called. For example, do you have a cat? Well, yeah, yes, I have a cat. And we can see that the CATS endpoint is again called. And the CATS endpoint is called because of this rule. So let's go to the second rule. It says, initiate a conversation about cats by inquiring about the cat's owner name. Well, this is like a rule to force the need of a name, because, well, for this endpoint, as I said, we need a name. And why is this really important? Because we are using the name as an ID to save the conversation. So that's really important, a name. That's why I set this rule to be sure that we have the cat's owner name and to execute the API endpoint. Then the third rule, always process the cat owner's name in lowercase. Well, this is another use of the behavior field if we are going to use the chatbot. Well, as I said, using the chatbot embodiment, we can input any kind of information, in uppercase, lowercase. It can be a large text content or a really short content. So you can input here whatever you want. And well, that can cause problems if you need the data in some specific format. So how to process this information that this user input and be sure that this information is processed in the correct format to execute a certain endpoint. Well, you can use the behavior field, like in this case, because we have the rule to process the cat owner's name in lowercase. So no matter if I input a name in uppercase, lowercase, or a mix of uppercase and lowercase, well, this endpoint, this cat's endpoint, is going to receive the name in lowercase always. And this is done because of this rule. So this is another use, an important use of the behavior field. So let's try it. Let's see if this indeed is happening. So I'm gonna turn on the debug mode to check how the information is arriving to this API endpoint. And we're going to do another interaction. Okay, let me see. My cat is really fat. Okay. How to make him exercise. Okay, let's see what we have here. We have the name, and we see that we have the name in lowercase, but the name in the chatbot embodiment was provided in this format with the first letter in uppercase. So this transformation of the name in lowercase is done by the AI in the chatbot embodiment following the rule that we set in the behavior field. Okay, so let's see more examples. Now we're going to see this agent. This agent is the SEO content writer. This is part of our templates collection. And well, this agent was built to be used with the chatbot embodiment. So that's why we're going to see some interesting rules in the behavior field. But first, really quick, how this agent works. Well, we have two endpoints, one to create the outline, and once the outline is ready, that information is delivered to the other endpoint to write the full article and publish a draft in a WordPress site. And that's it. Okay, so let's check the behavior field. We have three rules. The first one is really simple. It's just a really small description about what the agent can do. So yeah, it's not gonna make a really huge impact in the agent behavior. But let's see the second. Show the outline to the user before writing the article. Why this rule was set? Because, well, normally the inputs that we're going to provide for this agent is going to be something like write an article, I don't know, about AI, right? And well, the agent knows that, well, to write an article, first the agent needs to write the outline, and then the agent can write the full article. But if I don't set this rule, what's going to happen is that, well, the agent is going to execute this endpoint to create the outline, and then is going to provide that information to the other endpoint right away. So we are not going to see the result of the outline, the generated outline in the chatbot embodiment, if we don't have this rule to show the outline to the user. So that's some another interesting thing to do with the behavior field. We can set rules like this one, like show me the result before continue, or we can do something like ask for approval to go into the next step. I don't know. You can set rules like these ones. And well, let's execute this. And well, it's asking for a key phrase because this endpoint needs a key phrase. Set marketing as key phrase. And well, we have the outline. The outline is displayed to the user, and to continue is asking for an approval. All of this was done by the chatbot because we set this rule. Okay, so let's go to the third rule. If article writing is delayed, a URL is provided to monitor progress on the post page. Why I'm doing, well, I'm setting this because, well, let's check what we're going to have after writing the full article. This is the last component of the endpoint to write the full article. And what we are going to have here is, well, the post link, and that is going to be the results of publishing the draft article in the WordPress site. So if the agent only received a link, the agent doesn't know what that article means. So what if I don't set this rule saying that the URL provided is a URL to monitor the progress, the article progress? Well, what's going to happen is that the chatbot is going to hallucinate. So it's going to try to guess what is this URL that I'm getting from this endpoint. And well, that can cause some unexpected behavior. So to give the proper knowledge about what the URL that the agent, the chatbot, is getting from this endpoint, well, I'm setting this rule. With this rule, the chatbot is going to know that the URL that is getting is, well, to monitor the progress of the article. So that's another thing that you can do in the behavior field. You can set rules about how the chatbot is going to interpret the information that is getting from the endpoints. So if so everything is really clear, and well, no unexpected behavior is going to happen. Okay, and another thing that we can make sure to clarify is, well, the difference of the rules. For example, in the previous example, we said uh, directly the name of the endpoint that is going to be called, but in this case, we are not saying in any place which endpoint is going to be called. So how the agent, well, the chatbot, knows that the first endpoint that needs to be called is the one that is going to create the outline, and then the other one to write the full article. Well, as you know, the chatbot is an AI, so it has enough knowledge. And to make it easy for the chatbot to know which endpoint needs to be called, well, the name of the endpoints needs to be really clear. So that's a really important tip. Name your endpoints really, really clear. For example, in this case, we have this name that it says create outline. So it's really clear what the endpoint does. And this other one, write article. So with this name, with these names in the endpoints, it's really clear for the chatbot what each endpoint is doing. So I don't have to be I don't have to put the names in the behavior field, like saying, well, first you need to call the create outlet endpoint and then the write article endpoint. Well, if the name of our endpoints is really clear, well, we don't need that. So keep in mind that also. Okay, another use case of the behavior field can be the language. For example, in some cases, we want the chatbot to communicate, to write the responses in a certain language, with a default language. So we can set that behavior in the behavior field. For example, the default language is German. We save. We're going to open the chatbot embodiment. If we say anything in the chatbot, we can see that the response is in German. And well, the chatbot is behaving in that way because of this rule. Another use case can be, well, maybe we want the agent to answer in the user language. So we can also set that in the behavior field. Let's restart the chatbot, and if, for example, I speak in Spanish, I'm going to get the response in Spanish. And if I speak in English, well, I'm going to get the response in English. So yeah, that's another use case for the behavior field. You can set the language. And well, the most important rule for the behavior field is to keep it really clear. Sometimes I see that, well, users can put a lot of information in this field, multiple rules, sometimes redundant rules. So yeah, that's a really bad practice. So keep the behavior field with the rules as clear as possible and only with the necessary rules. If you can set the behavior of the agent without setting a rule in the behavior field, well, that's really good because you avoid setting one rule more in the behavior field. One example of this can be, for example, this agent, as I said, we are not saying in any place how the API endpoints are going to be called, in which order, but the chatbot knows that just by looking the name of the endpoints. So in this example, if the names of the endpoints are really clear, well, the chatbot already know how to execute those endpoints, and we avoid setting one extra rule in the behavior field. So that's all for this session. I just wanted to explain really clear what you can do with the behavior field, and I hope this can be useful for you. So see you in the next session.